Hello everyone and welcome back to my Dark Souls 3 walkthrough. Last time we completed the Undead Settlement, and in this episode we are going to take on the Road of Sacrifices. Before we begin, I would like to return to the shrine and talk to Irina. And we can find her in this little corner. Hello, welcome.
Oh, Champion of Ash. Welcome back. I was not meant to be a firekeeper, but I am honored to serve you beside the bonfire. The gods are ever merciful. My gratitude lies with them and with you. I am yours now. Your wish is my command.
So, from her we can purchase miracles, and we can also buy an item that allows attunement of additional spells, which I am not going to need. Let's talk to her instead.
You know, in my home of Karim, I was a nun. I would be pleased to share the tales of miracles with you. Although, to be honest, I only know a few. But if I had a divine tome, I could tell you many tales and more. Oh, only I cannot see. Terribly sorry, but you'll have to find me a divine tome in Braille.
Right, so I'll see what I can do.
Have a pleasant journey, Champion of Ash. I pray for your safety.
Right, a pleasant journey through the Road of Sacrifices. Sure, let's see how that goes. Alright, so here we are, and here we have some other enemies who are, well, they are quite aggressive when they rip their wings out like that, so you want to take them out before they get a chance to attack you in their unleashed state, let's call it that way. Anyway, over here we find a shriving stone. Now this is similarly to gems used for infusing weapons, except in this one the shriving stone is used to uninfuse weapons. So if you made an infusion and you decided actually I prefer the uninfused version, you can use the stone to revert that previous infusion. Right, so let's run past these two guys and take out this guy first. There's also a way down over here, but the fall is rather great. So I would rather not take too much fall damage. And now here we have a problem, as there are two enemies, and I cannot take out both of them at the same time using the backstab plus 2 light attacks technique that I've been using previously, but I managed to deal with them anyway. Right, so now over here we find a hostile NPC. Hostile indeed. Right, since this NPC is not really closed, this frostbite effect of the sword doesn't take long to kick in. And there we go. NPC is defeated, and we get the weapon, a butcher knife. And here are a few items. A brigand axe, a set of brigand armor, and brigand twin daggers. So this additional property of this weapon, the frost build-up, when it builds up enough, it causes frostbite, which deals a chunk of damage instantly, and then also increases damage taken from other sources as well. Alright, so let's take out these guys, and there was also a titanite shard to be picked up over there. Now this immediate chunk of damage is pretty much the most important thing about this weapon. Now here we have a problem, because this guy will try to alert all of the enemies to our presence, and I need to rush them before I get overwhelmed. Which it turns out just one guy was enough to defeat me. So I thought I could take him out, but he jumped up and he was out of my range. Anyway, let's now keep going. And it actually turns out it was a good thing, as there was an item over here that I forgot to pick up, and this is a soul of an unknown traveler. Right, I'm not going to take out all of these guys. I'm just going to focus on the ones that are in my way. Alright, now let's go back towards that bridge, and this time let's try to not get overwhelmed. 1, 2, 3, 4 attacks for this guy. Okay, one by one this time, please. One, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Stay away from the cloud. 1, 2, 3, 4. And there is the call again, so I can expect another one to come for me anytime now. Let's take out this guy, and before we progress, there's another path in oh no. The ones I didn't take out earlier were awakened by the call, so this area is now a little bit more dangerous. Anyway, to the side over here is another path that we can take. There's a drop, and there is a dog. And I'm going to actually switch to my fire longsword, as fire damage is very good against dogs. It just causes them to roll on the ground like that. Alright, so let's take them out, and this is where we can find a Braille Divine Tome of Karim and a Morn's Ring. Now, let me use an Ember. Now, you can only use an Ember if you're not embered, and you lose your Ember when you die, which happened to me, unfortunately. So, let me use the Ember to recover the Strength of Flame. I shall now switch back to this Irithral Straight Sword, and there we go. So that's it for this part of the area. And we find another bonfire and a couple NPCs. Let's say hi.
Oh, hello. How do you do? I'm Anri of Astora, unkindled like you. This is Horace, a friend and travelling companion. Are you too in search of the Lords of Cinder?
Mm-hmm.
We're well along the road of sacrifices. Below us is the Crucifixion Woods. Beyond the flooded woods lies Firelink, home of the Undead Legion. Further yet is the Cathedral of the Deep. We seek the Cathedral, home of the grim Aldrich. We may go our separate ways now, but we are both seekers of lords. The next time we cross paths, one may find the other in a time of need. May the flames guide your way.
Hello, Horace. So this is where we get the Blue Sentinel's Covenant, which is the other side of the coin with the Way of Blue Covenant. So if someone from Way of Blue gets invaded, someone from Blue Sentinels can be summoned to help the other player defeat the invader. And Horace wasn't as welcoming as you.
Oh, yes, Horace. He's not very talkative. But don't think ill of him. He is an upstanding, kind-hearted knight, a fine partner for this grueling journey. Without his help, I would have cursed this onerous duty long ago.
Okay. So, let me rest at the bonfire, and let's continue on the journey. Right, so let's follow this path. And hi, against these guys, I'm actually going to use the fire longsword, as they, similarly to dogs, are also weak to fire and don't know what to do with themselves when they get slightly burned. Right, so let's follow this path, and there are some more of these stick guys. I think I can just rush them. Alright. Let me take out this guy as well. And there are a couple more here. So let's deal with them and loot this item, which is a Titanite shard, and I also got another Titanite shard as a drop from this guy. Alright, I will not go into the water yet. I will for now clear this area. Now these woods are treacherous. Behind every tree there may be an enemy just waiting to ambush you, so you need to really remain vigilant here. Next to these rocks was another Titanite shard, and there are quite a few in this area, enough to upgrade your weapon of choice to +2 at least. Right, let's take out all of these guys. I did not mean to kick you in the face. Right, there we go. And they were guarding yet another Titanite shard. Right, let's keep on taking out these guys. And like I mentioned, almost behind every tree there's another one of these guys to boop you in the nose in a very unfriendly manner. Anyway, between those trees we find first a great shield, a twin dragon great shield. There's also an item, and it's watched by another dog. This is a fading soul, so its purpose was indeed to make you go ooh, shiny, and to have the dog ambush you. Right, let's check if there are any more enemies here. There are two over here. So let's take them out as well. Now over here there's a summon sign, and this is actually the NPC that we were invaded by in the previous episode, except he's much stronger now, and of course he's going to be hostile, so I am not going to summon him. Anyway, when we reach those rocks, up here we can find a bonfire, which is more or less halfway from the previous bonfire to where we need to go. But first let's continue exploring. There are a couple more guys here. Let's get a backstab on this guy, and let's take out this guy with just a couple light attacks. Over here we can find another Estus shard, so that's good. There's also an ember, and these guys who I'm actually going to use the Irithil straight sword against, as the frost build-up is more valuable than the fire damage the other sword of mine has to offer. Alright, so after clearing both of them, there is an item we can safely pick up, and this is another soul of an unknown traveler. And now, before I go into the water, I want to actually backtrack a little bit and go back to the go back up the path that we came from, as there is a drop over here in this area, and this is how we can find another item right here, and it's another soul of an unknown traveler. Right, now we can also drop over here. This is another area with land, I guess. So I still haven't descended into the water yet. Alright, quit your tantrum. Oh, I got an ember from that guy, that's nice. Alright, let's now deal with these guys. Deal with this one as well, and another one of these guys to deal with. Alright, 3 hits, cause frostbite, then don't get greedy, 4 more hits, and he's down. Now over here is a side area, and this enemy over there is one of the most difficult enemies in this whole area. So if you don't want to face him, you can just take this path to the right over here, at the end of which there is a set of sellsword armor. Then you can drop, and below you can find sellsword twin blades, and at the end of this path there is also a Faron coal. Alright, now after you reach that side, it's safe to just use a bone and go back to the Firelink shrine. but I'm actually going to challenge this guy, even though I think he can take me out in 2 hits at the current state. And this guy is quite durable, and I don't mean that in a way that he has a lot of health. I mean it in a way that he can be hit with a big weapon and not even budge. Right, anyway, he is now defeated, and we can go back to where we were before, which is near the water. Alright, I think I want to actually switch to the fire longsword here, and let's check what we have. So, there are crabs, and then there are crabs, and then there are big crabs, one of which is coming towards me. Alright, listen here. I do not appreciate that you are punching me like that. So the way I deal with this guy is I first apply frostbite with the irritable straight sword, and then I switch to fire longsword, which has more damage. And the first time we defeat that crab, we get a great swamp ring as a drop. Right, now let's switch back to the irritable straight sword. Let's take out these crabs right here. And as you may have noticed, I was able to perform a critical strike against the big crab. That is because I was consistently dealing damage, which ended up staggering. This crab is very indecisive. He's dancing. Anyway, another invasion by another NPC. Since I'm in, I guess, kind of the middle of the lake. And while this NPC uses magic and a crossbow, the real thing that you need to worry about is if she manages to catch you melee range with your pants down and just starts bonking you. Anyway, I managed to deal with the invader rather smoothly, and now I can clear out the rest of this area. There, small crab, and a big crab. Alright, as strange as it may sound, you don't want to be to the side of these guys. You want to be, well, preferably from the back, but obviously they're going to turn away. But also standing in front of the guy is better than standing to the side. Alright, so that's another crab taken out. Now the area is much safer. Next to this tree we find a grass crest shield, which has a special effect of increasing stamina regeneration. Now over here there are a couple more crabs and some items which are actually in deep water, and this prevents you from sprinting, You instead walk very slowly, and you also cannot roll very well. And next to this tree we find a Conjurator set and a Great Swamp Pyromancy Tome. Now this deep water unfortunately makes it rather difficult to fight. So it's better to lure all the enemies to the shallow waters instead. Now over here at the shore we find a set of Fallen Knight armor. Aside from that, there is also an item in this part of the lake, I guess. It's another couple of green blossoms and quite a few more crabs. Now there's also a little area over here which has an item, another item, and an enemy which I'm going to take care of first. There we go. And the items in question are a set of sorcerer armor and a sage ring. Now what this ring does is it shortens the time necessary to cast spells of any kind, so it's good for magic users. Anyway, up the stairs we can go into the building, and hi! Anyway, we find another crystal lizard here, so let's take it out before it disappears with a charged attack, and we get a crystal gem from it. Alright, now up these stairs there is a guy with a spear and a shield, so let's deal with him. And aside from that, you can also go outside and drop over here to find another ring of a sacrifice. There's also a message which says warriors slumber ahead, and it actually refers to that area, I believe, not this one. So anyway, let's now keep going. Another guy with a shield. This time let's kick that shield and perform a critical attack. And instead of going here, I am actually going to go forward and up these stairs, as there is a little, you could say, a secret over here, and another NPC.
Well, this is unexpected. I don't often have visitors. What do you want? This is my study that you've happened upon. If you haven't any business, I've reading to get back to.
Could you teach me some sorceries?
How intriguing. You'd better not. Sorcery is not for everyone, and should never be forced. You have your own methods. Sorcery need not be one of them. Don't let it bother you. Be on your way then. You're unkindled. Shouldn't you get back to your duty?
Okay, that was a very gentle way of calling me dumb. Well, my character, dumb. And I will come back to him in a moment, but first there's another way we could have gone from here, through this hole in the wall. And if we follow this path, we arrive over here, and there's a golden falcon shield, as well as a large soul of an unknown traveler. Aside from that, there are also two NPCs that are hostile, and Whenever you're dealing with more than one enemy, you want to separate them, and it's better to actually go for the one with the blade instead of the one with the club first, as the one with the club can actually heal himself, and if you are chunking him out first and he gets low, you can't interrupt his healing because you need to deal with the other guy, the one with the sword. But if you deal with the guy wielding a sword first, then it is no problem at all. Right, so alright, now this fight has become one-on-one. And there we go, a couple charged attacks for the win. And from these guys we get their weapons, that is a great club and an exile greatsword. Alright, now moving on, we find another message that says turn back, which I will in a moment. But first let me go over here and loot this item. And over here is the area where we found Faron coal. Right, so I'm going to go down this ladder, where we can find another bonfire, which actually connects to a different area, so I am indeed going to turn back and travel to the shrine. Right, so there are some things to talk about. Firstly, we have another NPC that has arrived at the shrine.
You're an unkindled, aren't you? I am Cirrus of the Sunless Realms, former servant of the divinity. Duties we each bear, but one's duty is a solitary affair. I doubt we've much to gain from fraternization. Blessing of the moon upon your journey.
Oh, I'm sure this is not the last we will see of each other. Right, so moving on. I found a Braille Divine Tome for you, Irina.
Oh, Champion of Ash, welcome back. Do you wish to hear a tale? You only have to ask.
And this is for you.
Oh, you've brought me a Braille Divine Tome. Now I can tell new tales of miracles. Tales of the greater miracles can be quite the epics. What fun we will have.
And now, as you might imagine, we can purchase other miracles from her as well.
Have a pleasant journey, Champion of Ash. I pray for your safety.
Aside from that, I also found a Pyromancy Tome, and I believe that is for you.
Ah, there you are, unkindled one. I am pleased to have a pupil as dedicated as you. Yes, here we are. It's been long indeed. With this I can teach you more sophisticated pyromancies. Splendid. I can boast I am your tutor a little longer.
And indeed, we can now learn a few more pyromancies from this guy. Later, though, right? Later.
Do not be gone for long. What is a teacher without a pupil?
Aside from that, I also found an Estus shard.
Well, Ned, 'tis good to see ye in good health. What needs smithing this day?
Now, this weapon of mine, Irithil Straight Sword, it actually requires Twinkling Titanite to be upgraded. That's because it's a special weapon and not a basic one that requires Titanite shards. But I came here because I found an Estus flask, an Estus shard to reinforce the flask, and I also found a coal.
Oh my. This coal is from the Undead Legion, used to forge the weapons of Farron's Abyss Watchers. A fine prize. I'm honored to be endued with it. Now I'll be equipped to infuse special gems. Praise the gods, eh? Time to put this brawn to use.
So now, indeed, we have access to other infusions. Aside from a refined, a raw, and fire that was available by default, we can now use the blacksmith's services to create sharp weapons, heavy weapons, and poison weapons. So a brief explanation. Heavy is good for weapons that scale with strength. So hammers, great hammers, axes, heavy swords, and so on. Sharp gem is good for swords that is good for weapons that scale mostly with dexterity and hardly with strength. So daggers, light swords, curved swords, and so on. Katanas as well. Refined gem is good for weapons that have a solid mix of scaling, so most straight swords, great swords, and also some halberds as well. Raw gem completely removes the scaling aspect whatsoever, but it increases base damage, or at least ways it should. It doesn't here. Let's show it here. So as you can see, the base damage goes up if we were to infuse it with a raw gem, but the scaling disappears completely. And then fire gem is what I mentioned before, and poison gem, you lose out on damage and scaling, but your weapon gets the additional properties of applying poison to poison build up to your enemies. Anyway, I think that's it for the smith.
Prithee, be careful. I don't want to see my work squandered.
Now I would like to go to Firekeeper and increase my intelligence a little bit.
Speak thine heart's desire.
I want to be smart.
Very well. Then touch the darkness within me. Take nourishment from these sovereignless souls.
So I want to increase my intelligence to actually double digits, and then I think I want to increase my health a little bit. You know, I'm actually going to keep the rest of the souls. I will just become a little bit smarter.
Farewell, Ashen One. May the flames guide thee.
Alright, so now that I am a little bit smarter, let's go back to that NPC, the sorcerer. and let's wrap this area up. Alright, let me clear out these guys first. And there's actually another way into the building. It's over here, through this hole in the wall. And here we find another hollow with a lantern. So let's not let me wake all these guys up. Let's instead take the guys out by ourselves. This sorcerer hollow actually dropped his staff, so that's pretty nice of him. Alright, I think I may want to switch to the fire longsword for a little bit extra damage to take these enemies out in 2 hits instead of 3. This guy also dropped a crystal gem, so that's nice. And there are a couple more guys over here, so let's take them out. And before we go talk to the sorcerer once again, let me clear out all the enemies over here. Also, this is where we can find the summon sign for Icon of Karim, if he's still our ally. Alright, now this hole, it would take you back to where there was the sorcerer set and sage ring and that one enemy. And here we go. A couple more sorcerers to deal with. Alright, that's enough from you. Enough. Alright, so now that this area has been cleared out, let's go back to the NPC and let's talk to him again.
Well, well. There's something different about you, isn't there? Very well. Indeed, I am a sorcerer, with plenty to share. However, what champion demands service without recompense? Clearly, you're not that sort of woman. So you will make me a promise that in exchange for my teaching, you will bring me knowledge in the form of scrolls detailing sorcery's secrets. Well, can you assure me of this?
Yes, I assure you that any scrolls I find, I shall bring to you.
Very well. You're no fool. I take it you understand the weight of a promise. I am Orbeck, of Vinheim, unkindled one. I shall teach you sorceries. We will learn together. It shall be like our very own school.
Alright. Now there's also an item over here that we can pick up. And this is a couple blue bug pellets. So these ones are for reducing magic damage. And as you might imagine, since there are hollow sorcerers and an NPC sorcerer, the boss at the end of this area is also a sorcerer. So let me equip the item I just found, and I will eat it when I have a moment to breathe during the battle. Alright, munch. By the way, these crystals do not deal any damage, so you don't need to worry. And now we have a second phase, where the boss actually creates clones of himself. And these clones also cast magic, as you may have noticed. Now you can use the pillars in the arena to take cover from some of the magic attacks, aside from the one where he sends the orb into the sky, as damage from that one comes from above and not from him. Alright, let's finish this. There we go. The boss, Crystal Sage, has been defeated. And we get its soul, a bonfire, which I shall rest at, and a few thousand souls. Alright, now moving on through here is where we can find some more crystal lizards to take out. So let's do that. And from these guys we get twinkling titanite, which is exactly the material necessary to reinforce this weapon. Right. So now moving on. There are a couple of these guys to deal with. So let's try to take them on one by one. This is not exactly going well. Okay, the other guy didn't get to the party while it was still going on. Alright, there we go. Another titanite shard, that's sweet. And over here is another chubby, which we can try to sneak up on by walking very slowly. And there we go, a backstab. There we go. What did you drop? Trousers. Another pair. Thanks. And over here there's a set of herald armor. And there is also this bridge, which actually takes us to the next area, which means that this is the end of this episode. So thank you so much for watching, and I will talk to you later. Goodbye.